Hey guys, welcome back. This video, we're going to continue our discussion on string methods. I know what you guys are thinking. You're probably wondering like, dude, when are we going to get into the cool methods? Well, that's actually what we're going to be talking about today. As you can tell, my throat's a little rough. So hopefully I can get through this and survive. And you know what would make it all worth it? If you guys would check out the link in the description. This is going to take you to our sponsor, Dev Mountain. Dev Mountain offers very serious classes that help you get everything you need to know to succeed in the web development industry. They also have content on iOS, for example, and some other classes you guys can check out. They have classes in person and online, so check it out. There's all kinds of options for you. It would definitely help me out, so just to help me out, go sign up, and yeah, they'll give you $250 off if you let them know I sent you. Very first thing I wanted to talk about is the substring method. This is going to take basically a piece of a larger string, such as this content here. We're not going to need these searches for now, so we're just going to get rid of them. So we're going to go content dot and then say substring. And the first argument is the index to start at. So we can say 6, and then the next is the index to stop at. And it's exclusive, so it doesn't include it. So if we put 6 and 11, what's going to happen is let's find index 6 first. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So W is index 6. It's included. So the first argument is included. Then let's find 11, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, which is this space here. That is not included. So inclusive, exclusive. So what we're going to get is just this wheel right here. So when we do a refresh, we get wheel, and there's no space. It's kind of a funny word by itself, wheel. Sounds like I'm saying like a normal wheel, but I'm not. So that's really cool. Let's move on to the next one. The next one is Substr, which the naming here is confusing, but I'll do my best to make it nice and clear. The starting index is the same, so we just put a 6, but now the next character is the number of characters we want to include. So if we put 5, for example, we'll get the same thing, wheel, and you can see there's no space there at the end. So now this is more relative, where this one is absolute. So substring, absolute index, not included, substr, just the total number of characters to include. If we had an 11 here, we're not going to get the same result as substring. This is actually going to grab 11 characters. So that is the difference between substring and substr. You may also hear of slice. So there's a dot slice. This is very similar to substring, just with some minor differences. If you want to know all the differences between the three, just look it up on the internet because I don't feel like getting into the nitty-gritty. This is more of just intro material. But basically, you should be good just using substr and substring. Slice works very similar to substring. It does basically the same thing. It'll just give you some differences if you're working with negative numbers and some other things like that. So I'm going to stick with substring, and really that's going to give me everything I need, so I basically forget about slice. Next thing I wanted to talk about is how to modify a string. And these are always going to return a new string. So if we wanted to keep them, we would have to assign it back to a new string. The first one is to uppercase, which does what you would think. It just converts everything to uppercase. And then there's also a to lowercase, which works the same exact way, except it makes it lower. So now we have all caps. We're really excited, and now we're just a little bit depressed here. If we wanted to keep these, once again, you would want to assign them back to a new string or replace the old one. So we could say content.to uppercase here, and now caps contains the modified version. But we're just going to stick with console logging them. Next one is trim, and the point of this is to basically trim any kind of white space before or after the string. So it removes leading and trailing white space. So let's see this in action. Let's just go in here and put a bunch of junk. We can put spaces, we can put a tab, we can put a new line, and then at the end we can do another space, another tab, a new line. And now let's do a refresh. You can see the string printed has nothing at the end or at the beginning. If we got rid of this trim here, you can see what actually would be shown. You can see a lot of extra spacing in here. So that's useful for form validation, for example. If you want to make sure they're not putting any extra spaces at the end of their username or at the beginning, you can use trim. Equally so, there is a left trim and right trim. So there's dot trim left, which should do the same thing. And there's a dot trim right, which will get it at the end. You may also see trim start and trim end. So trim start, which works, and then trim end. They do the same exact thing, just another name for the same thing. Now this next method you're going to see is super awesome. It is absolutely useless, but it's a lot of fun. So for example, let's make a string TikTok, And let's say we just want to print TikTok a ton of times. Well, what you can do is you can say waiting dot repeat, and then put in the number that you want to repeat it, how many times you want it to show up. So let's say we want it to appear 4,000 times, do a refresh, and boom, there you go. It says show 35,000 more. So yeah, not sure when you're going to want to use that, but definitely fun. Next one is actually very useful, and you probably will end up using this if you get into any kind of complicated programming, and this is the split method. And the way this works is it's basically going to take what we have and split it up by some delimiter. So a delimiter is something that separates things. So the delimiter for this string could be spaces. You might also see examples where the delimiter are commas, or it might be dashes or hyphens. It's usually some kind of special character like that, but if we wanted to split this into a bunch of words instead of a giant string with spaces, we could use this method. So let's put split, and then inside of here we're just going to put a space inside of a string. So we're saying this is how we want to split it. Okay, sorry, I gotta change this to content.split. Now do a refresh, and you can see now we have an array, and we're going to get into arrays if you guys don't know about them, but basically we have a collection of different strings. Every single one was originally separated by a space, but now they're just individual entities, and they're all in an array. This will definitely be helpful when working with comma-separated value files. This is how you can break up data and put it into an array. So that is actually pretty useful. It's not nearly as fun as the repeat method, and it's kind of boring honestly, but definitely more practical. Those are the basic functions you guys should know about. There's two more I wanted to talk about, but I decided to pass, and that is .search and also .replace. Maybe we'll talk about these later, but basically these take what's known as a regular expression. And a regular expression is basically a magical way to match things. So for example, you can make a regular expression to tell if something is a correct email or if it's the right format for a phone number. And using this regular expression, you can filter out things in your string, so we could replace different things or whatever you guys wanted to do. So if these seem of interest to you, check them out. They might be useful in upcoming projects. But that's all I'm going to be talking about in this video. In the next video, we're going to be getting into something really cool because we're going to be talking about creating basic functions and objects. We talked a little bit about it, but now we're going to go in a little bit more depth just to prepare us for the upcoming content. So thank you guys for watching. Please be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.